A fifth candidate has joined the race for that now empty District 6 Senate seat. District 6 runs from Grand Rapids southwest into the Brainerd Lakes area, covering communities like Cross Lake, Pequot Lakes, and Nisswa. Nicky Hardy is from Pequot Lakes and running now as a DFLer. Hardy's a mom, scientist with her PhD, and substitute teacher. She said news of Eichhorn's arrest last week made her realize she wanted to step up and be a voice for rural Minnesota. Along with addressing child exploitation and sex trafficking, if elected, Hardy wants to improve health care accessibility.
And that includes things like recruiting doctors to rural areas, and then also maybe the implementation of like mobile clinics that would allow for better service to the more remote areas of our district.
Hardy also says education and listening to the needs of rural school districts would be a big priority. On the DFL side, Hardy joins Emily LeClaire, who announced her campaign last week. The three Republicans already planning to run are Carrie Heinzman, Jennifer Carnahan, and John Howe. With more than one candidate running on each side, there will be a DFL and Republican primary coming up Tuesday, April 15th. The general election is April 29th. Candidates have until next Tuesday to enter the race.